So, today we're diving into this really fascinating Japanese concept. It's a powerful way to understand why some days just completely fall apart. It's called Fukō no Sakan, which literally translates to the slope of unhappiness. Let's just start with this. Have you ever had one of those days? You know the kind I'm talking about, where one tiny thing goes wrong and then the whole day just implodes. You know the drill, right? You wake up 10 minutes late. So now you're rushing, and of course, you spill coffee all over your shirt. You're frustrated, you get to work, you send a snappy email to your boss you probably shouldn't have, and somehow by lunchtime, it's not about the coffee stain anymore. You're sitting there thinking your entire life is just one big catastrophic failure. Well, this isn't just you having a bad day. It's a very real, very recognizable pattern. Let's actually look at an example to see how this downward spiral gets started. Okay, so meet Daniel. He's a successful executive. Everything's going fine. But for him, this whole slide into unhappiness started with something that seems so small, right? It was just a single work email that he didn't handle very well. That was the tiny push that started the ball rolling. And you can see on this timeline just how fast it happens. Week 1, it's just that one email. No big deal, right? But by week 2, he's already starting to pull away from his coworkers. A month in, his motivation is totally gone. And by week 6, you're seeing physical effects. He's gained weight and feels absolutely trapped. It's that classic snowball effect. One tiny little misstep just picks up speed and becomes a total avalanche. So this downward spiral, it's not some new phenomenon we just discovered. In fact, there's a name for it, a concept that people have understood for a very long time. And that name is Fukō no Sakan, the slope of unhappiness. The idea is that one single problem that you don't deal with starts you sliding down this invisible hill. And once you have that downward momentum, every bad choice after that just becomes easier and easier, pulling you down faster and faster. And here's what's so wild. This ancient piece of wisdom perfectly lines up with modern science. What the Japanese called a slope, clinical psychology today calls a rumination spiral. It's the exact same idea, a cycle of negative thoughts that repeats over and over, and it actually becomes physically harder to stop. Yeah, this isn't just something in your mind. It has a real biological impact on your brain. As you get stuck in that loop, your brain starts pumping out more cortisol, that's your stress hormone, and at the same time, it produces less serotonin, the thing that kind of keeps your mood stable. So this chemical change literally, biologically makes it harder to climb back up. But here it is. This is the most important part of this whole idea. Even though the feeling is real and the biology behind it is real, the idea that you are stuck forever, that you're trapped, that part is an illusion. So if the problem is this downward momentum, this slippery slope, then the solution has to be finding a way to stop it, right? To interrupt that slide. So how do you do it? The answer is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. To stop sliding, you have to build friction. You have to do something, anything, to forcibly interrupt that cycle and grind that downward momentum to a complete stop. And look, we're not talking about some massive, life-altering change here. It's all about small, deliberate actions. Really simple stuff like just focusing on fixing your sleep schedule, or doing that one tiny task you've been putting off for weeks, or even just taking a minute to help someone else. Every single one of those actions is like throwing a rock onto the slope. It creates that friction you need. See, these little actions, they don't just stop the slide. They give you a foothold. They give you a place to start climbing back up. So let's just say it one more time because it's the most important takeaway here. That overwhelming feeling of being stuck on this downward slope, it's an illusion. You have the power to build that friction, to stop the slide, and to start climbing. You are not trapped. So, I'm just going to leave you with this question to think about. If you feel yourself sliding, even just a little bit, what's the first small piece of friction you can build today? What's going to be the very first step of your climb?